Hey, this is Mr. Barron. Going to be going over basically starting a site plan with Revit. So Revit is building information modeling software, which means basically that it can calculate how many light switches and studs and pieces of plywood, all kinds of information about your model. And when you make a change, you can update everything automatically. So it's a pretty nice program. You're going to go to basically hit a new document, and the default is construction template, but you're going to want to change that to architectural template. Hit OK. So basically we have a bunch of pull down menus on the top, and then right below the pull down menus is called the ribbon with lots of options. This is the undo key. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to start by drawing basically the piece of land, the topography, the site. So I'm going to go to Massing and Site, click on Property Line, and we're just going to sketch it today. Later on we'll do a lesson on entering the degrees, minutes, and seconds. So up here are your sketch tools. You can do line, rectangle, other things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and left click, and I'm going to go 100, get the line going the right direction you want, and then you can type it in 150. If you just hit enter, that means feet. You don't have to put the single quote mark. Just 150, enter. You go down here, 150, type it in, enter. Over here, notice how if I want to make a square, it snaps with a blue dashed line, so I know I'm going to get it correct. So left click, and then I'll close it up here. Alright, so if it looks good, you hit the green checkbox. If you don't like it, hit the red X. This looks good. These markers here, you don't want to delete. You might want to move them out of the way. They're basically our elevation markers, which we'll talk more about later. But if you're careful right now, you could move these to kind of get them out of the way. If you double click it by accident, all you have to do is double click Site to kind of get back where you want to be. So it's not really that critical, but I'm just making it so I can see everything really clearly. Alright, so for right now, when you work on the site plan, you want to be double clicked on site here. If you're working on like the walls and things inside your house, you're probably going to be on level 1 or a second story level 2. So make sure you're on site, double click it, and I've done the property line. Next is the topo surface, and the default is elevations at 0, and I'm just going to leave that for right now. I'm going to click my 4 corners, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now basically I have a piece of dirt that's at 0 feet. You could stop right there and hit the green checkbox. I also wanted to show you though that while you're in this command, you can type in something like 1 foot, and you could just create an artificial slope. The more times you click your mouse, the more smoother it is. So now I'm going to go over here and click right there. So I've made that surface. If I go to 2 feet, that area is at 2 feet. If I go to 3 feet, that area is at 3 feet. So that's how that works. I'm going to go ahead and hit the green checkbox now. Let's look at this in 3D. So notice right now it doesn't say 3D anywhere on the right side. Your project browser might be on a different side, but you can move these where you want. But I'm going to go to the View menu and hit 3D View. Now over here it's basically added this in permanently. If you want to view it shaded, then you can click here and do shaded. And you can, if I use my mouse wheel, you can zoom in. If you hold down the Shift key and push your mouse button down, you can rotate. Alright? So practice that. Make sure that you can do that. So now I'm going to go back to my site plan, and I'm just going to go ahead and show you a couple more things. One is if I go to Label Contours and I click my mouse one time here and click my mouse over here, it labeled the contours. An architect would likely have a surveyor plan that they would import in. We'll go over that later, but for this first assignment, just getting used to the program. But that's how basically those topographical lines are made. Alright, make sure you practice that, press pause and practice. The other thing under Massing and Site is something called a subregion, and this might be good if you would like to have a driveway, for example. So if I'm going to go ahead and I'll click rectangle, and I'll make my driveway be 20 feet by, how about 50. Okay, so green check if you like it. Now if I go to 3D, you can see it's kind of a separate entity, and it does follow the contours. Alright, also under Massing and Site are trees. So there's different trees in the pull down list here, and right now I'm just going to add some different ones here so you can see. Alright, so that's how that works. The escape key can kind of cancel you out. So looking at this now, got some trees there. And these will show up actually 3D when you render it, but they show up like this so that your computer doesn't get bogged down trying to render 5,000 leaves when you don't really want it to. Alright, so that basically is the lesson on setting up a basic topography. There's of course more things we could get into, but that's just the basics. Thanks for listening.